Fans know exactly who they want to be going for here. Pretty loud on both ends. I mean, this is what you'd expect for a winner's final. This is what you would expect for such a hype matchup. Like I mentioned here, it is a rematch of the Contenders Season 2 Korea Grand Finals, and that was an exciting one in and of itself. I'm expecting some real fireworks here.
And heck, let's be clear, this could also just well be a preview of the Gauntlet Grand Finals themselves. Depends on how the loser of this fares over their next few matches, but let's first find out how both teams are going to fare in this match. Who actually is that loser going to be, and who gets that golden ticket direct to the Grand Finals?
You didn't mention Yaki earlier, and what I do believe, he's got a pretty tough job ahead of him. Sparkle's been a bit of a prodigal Doomfist in his own time, but Yaki had such a great performance versus Gen G. Let's see how these two players match up.
Element Mystic pulling out the special. It's going to be Doha and Sparkle on the Sombra Doomfist. Hackfist, as some might call it. Look, this worked a treat yesterday for Element Mystic against Atlanta Academy. Already finding Yaki early as Sparkle now goes in, delivers Legday gone. That's going to be a tough break for RunAway at the start, but Element Mystic, a super clean opening skirmish.
And now the question is, does Yaki change off the Doomfist? Is he going to something like May, or will they stay here? Because there is going to be a bit of that compositional rock, paper, scissors. If you go onto the May, Doha changes onto the Reaper, so on and so forth. Seems like RunAway going to stick to what they've got now. Element Mystic looking at the EMP, 68%.
So now that we've got Accretion, we've got a rock ability, I'm waiting for like a paper ability and a scissors ability so that we can really lean into that composition, the triad there. But now making their next approach here is RunAway. A little bit the worse for wear. Element Mystic very close to the critical tools, especially that EMP on Doha.
We're looking at the damage coming through now. 89% coalescence is coming through from both sides.
Beam battles appease. Sparkle finds his counterpart. Nice opening play there. And with that, they might not even need this EMP from Doha. Doesn't quite find anything there. Sparkle with the Meteor Strike. Element Mystic just happy to let RunAway back off for the time being.
And it's RunAway that need to make the approach here. Doha still on the flank. You see him around the edges, waiting to see where RunAway are going to approach on. He has been spotted for now, though.
It does mean they have to set him up somewhere else in a second. But RunAway have regrouped. They're not going to make their approach now. They got the ultimates to back it up. Legday God is waiting in the wings for that EMP to come out. But Element Mystic, they know that that's going to be the case as well. They might just try and brute force this with other ultimates and still RunAway have to make the approach. There it comes out. Legday God, quick fingers with the response, and Unique has done the same with the sound barriers. Mag now the first casualty is Sparkle, barely staying alive there. They do at least finish off Doha, but Element Mystic still have a lot to work with here as Sparkle finds out Yaki. Hisu though pays that back double, and RunAway off the back of that will be the ones cleaning up the fight. But when you look at how that all played out, 80% already for Element Mystic.
And the initial patience for EM was pretty decent. They were just waiting for the supercharger to run out. They didn't quite want to use the EMP just yet, waiting for the right moment to go in. But Legday God was also trying to counter it with his own sound barrier. Not going to get caught out like Funny Astro yesterday. RunAway this time around are going to be able to cover their all members, cover their bases, have the safety options there, and EM just couldn't get the kills afterwards despite using their own sound barrier.
Element Mystic also stalled a little bit there and pushes up to 93%. Usually I would say that's safer. It takes you out of that kind of one-fight territory where if one of you win, you now just win. You don't have to defend again. But when it's RunAway, man, I don't even know if that's true. Element Mystic can cap this point and still lose it again with 93% here.
Doha's actually on the Reaper now, so they are looking at this being a time-sensitive matter. Speaking of time-sensitive, where's Sparkle? He should be coming in.
Yaki fancied that supercharge for a second, decides hold up, need to take the fight to the point itself, but Kiwiku's already down now. What's Yaki going to be able to accomplish? Because Sparkle is tearing up. Legday gone though does help finish off Sparkle, and things staying relatively even, not anymore now as Element Mystic really starting to pull ahead. Legday gone will try and keep them in this fight because the cap has actually gone back the way of Element Mystic. RunAway know that this is actually the last fight and they don't really have members around this point.
They need to get those members here quickly. They need the ultimates as well. QQ so close to the flux, but 2 down already.
Nicely done to get Legday gone, and then Hisu as well. Those were the members actually keeping it alive for the respawners who, in all fairness, were actually almost there. Without that though, Element Mystic are able to ward off RunAway and take the first round of Lijiang Tower.
Mostly clean from their side as well, pretty much only giving away one fight in the middle there. You have to also commend RunAway for being able to survive the EMP, but when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, even though the EMP wasn't going to be the game-winning factor for Element Mystic this time, they were still able to come through. Sparkle was able to do a lot. Doha was still on the Reaper towards the end there, and for EM, accruing that huge 90+% lead is what gives them the win at the end of the day.
Paid off, right? That 93%. We'll have to see now if Lightning can strike twice. Can Element Mystic replicate that success on Gardens?
And I wonder if Doha is going to be thinking about the Sombra again. Yaki is starting on the Fire this time around. Doha should be looking for the swap. It will be Reaper.
Question now is, what are they going to do to deal with Yaki? Element Mystic, first rotation onto the point, of course.
It'll be Hanbin's job most of all. Put the Umbrella up. Get the accretions as well to try and snipe him from the skies. Yaki already sitting on 25%.
It's like a burst hailstorm. You put up the umbrella, but then you throw a rocket to the sky, right? Gangnam Jin takes some chunks from Doha. Nicely found out. Doha continuing to press forward on that one low, but confident that the healers at his back can keep him alive. And with that 3 Element Mystic again, off to a very clean start in the opening skirmish.
4 total kills there, and it seems like Yaki, he was peppering them with damage. 66% is nothing to laugh at, but none of that was converted into actual kills that was usable by RunAway. Meanwhile, Element Mystic, they got a string of kills there. So many to work with. They get the early cap now, and Yaki's saying, okay, no more fire.
All right, and with that, Yaki's going to have to make up for some lost ground here as well against Sparkle. He's going to have to frag out, really, because the ultimates are heavily in favor of Element Mystic right now. They want to lean in to that advantage. So many low members on RunAway. It feels like it's only a matter of time before they all drop like dominoes, and they go tumbling down with that Element Mystic. 1 ultimate to take the fight win, easy peasy.
That's going to be a waste of coalitions from Gangnam Jin. Unfortunately, RunAway were already down a couple of members when he decided to use it, and that is a coalitions difference also coming from MCD, because EM are pushing in to a narrow corridor, using coalitions to cover all of their own members as well as doing damage. That is a perfect approach for EM to defend the point, and RunAway, they lose another ult.
A little bit of a tough break again for RunAway, and Element Mystic still leaning into an ultimate advantage now. It'll be the DPS ultimate plus Supercharger soon from Alpha, but before that it is Mag Supercharger that gets to be planted firmly on the point. Sparkle, in the stun, has Meteor Strike. Supercharger's now down. What will Sparkle find with this? If anything, slams down onto QOQ. That's the finish off there, and immediately Element Mystic again just collapse on top of the rest of RunAway.
And they survive against Mag Supercharger as well. Once more, you have to talk about the patience here. Sparkle looked at the Supercharger, says, no, I'm going to trust my team to take care of that one. I'm going to land on a couple players who are still waiting on that point. The juiciest of them all has to be QOQ. Slams down on top of him, gets that kill, RunAway, get nothing done with the Supercharger sadly.
And now Element Mystic are in 1-fight territory on the cusp of actually shutting RunAway out here, and still with the ultimate advantage. Double coalescence Alpha once again. Very favorable position for MCD. Hanbin taking some damage, but will still get the flux off as the Supercharger from Alpha is out of the picture. A lot of low members. Can they get them finished off? It should be easy picking so far. Sparkle finds himself a few snacks, and with that Element Mystic, unless Isu pulls something out of nowhere, which he will not, it should once again be Element Mystic cleaning up the last few members of RunAway.
And this is going to be the potential 100-0 here. Once again, QOQ has that flux, but he's nowhere to be seen.
And if they can get that off, there's maybe something they can work with. But oh, Legday gone, can't keep stalling it out. The St. Polskaya, buddy. And now Mag already low, already down.
Late,
there's
buddy.
the flux, but QOQ can't even be on the point himself while he channels it. Shut out for Element Mystic there to take the win 2-0 on Lijiang Tower.
And might I say, that was a dominant performance to open up this winner bracket finals. The confidence there from Element Mystic saying, we're not going to be like Genji. This is not going to be a 3-0. In fact, it's not going to be 4-0 unless it's going our way, unless we are the ones giving you that 3-0/4-0. Now, RunAway, questions need to be asked over here. The fire wasn't working out for Yaki on that Gardens map. You have to look at the Sparkle side of things. Remember, we are in a Doomfist meta. That means we're in Sparkle's meta.
Gotta say though, man, RunAway is one of those teams that I don't think I can ever bring myself to count out, and obviously we're only very shallow into this series so far. It is one very powerful map when the Element Mystic have up over RunAway, but plenty of time for RunAway to turn things back around. Will they? Let's find out after this break. Well, all right then. 1-0 up for Element Mystic, and I said it before we went away for the break. RunAway are a team known for turning things around. Like, I refuse to count them out. Like, I almost refuse to count them out when they've literally lost, right? That's kind of how this team feels sometimes. But nonetheless, they are in that position where they do have to start answering some maps back here.
You never count anybody out after one map, of course, despite how good it looked for Element Mystic. Going into maps 2 and forward here, especially on different game modes, you have to start looking at the other strategies, because we talked about it being a doofus meta. Well, actually, there's another hero that's very prominent here as well, and that's the Bastion.
Interesting that Achilios is the pick, and for those unfamiliar, of course, the first map pick was also actually RunAway's map pick. Currently, the highest seed picks the first map, then loser picks the subsequent map. So 2 in a row here for RunAway. Interesting to see that this is their option for Hybrid.
And it does tell me we are going to see more fire potentially. We're going to see a little bit of Bastion here. And that's something that Element Mystic started to display in their match versus Atlanta Academy yesterday, where not something they had a lot to play with earlier on in Group A, but suddenly now we're into the upper brackets. This is now where Element Mystic are showing all the cards.
You certainly believe that Element Mystic can have a strong showing here. You know, all the bits are there. Sparkle, Sparrow, Doha can't play the Bastion, but execution is always key. The chants are just louder than ever before, right? I feel like they're only going to get louder from map to map here as things heat up. Just hope the crowd doesn't lose their voices.
We'll see who loses theirs first, depending on how hyped these matches get. Pixie as
also the crowd, right?
RunAway. I'm expecting some fireworks here once more, because this should be a tight series. No one's walking away from this one with a perfect record. And speaking of Element Mystic, every single match they've played so far, they've dropped at least one map, if not 2. Now that being said, they have always won in the end. They've never failed to win in this tournament so far. And we are wondering, could this be the one they lose in? Well, so far they're leading in it.
And an interesting note in among all this is, like, obviously you can say the same of RunAway in as much as they haven't lost one yet. That's why both of these teams are still in the upper bracket. The difference is Element Mystic have been playing for a lot longer because they had to play through that group stage first. And that is a real difference maker here. They've kind of had more time to actively sound things out against the level of teams at this competition.
Yesterday we saw Sugar Free and Sparkle take to the skies here, with Sparkle, for the most part, handles Sugar Free pretty easily. Yaki, though, is going to be a different story. His Farah is notably pretty good. Wasn't so great on Lee Jung Tao, but on Achilios, there could be a different story.
Yeah, already landed the rockets against Sparkle there, leaving him to sweat for just a moment. And this is always an interesting one, because essentially you have like that 2v2 dogfight in the skies, and then you have a 4v4 going on the ground between the Bastions with the shields, and again, big chunks on Sparkle.
And part of how Element Mystic beat Atlanta Academy was they were winning the 2v2s for the most part, and then the 4v4s became 4v5, 4v6s. So far now, though, the Faras are pretty equal. At least they're keeping each other busy. Let's see what happens on the ground.
RunAway have been making the rotations here, so now they're just ready to have that pitched kind of fight, trying to get the angle on the Immortality field. It's a little bit of a tough ask with the angle Doha's got, but they managed to find the field, and then Doha himself, Hisu, has the free fire into the entire squad. And with that, the dogfight is a moot point. Element Mystic have thoroughly lost this battle.
Sparkle's got to get away from here as quickly as possible. You see what happened there as well. Teams drop down their Immortality fields. MCD unfortunately gets his one sniped out. But that's just going to cost the team. Doha goes down early, no damage to come back through. Hisu's still alive. He clicks everybody, and that's going to be a very quick cap overall.
Element Mystic now gonna have to figure out how to set back up here. First, they kind of need to make a bit of space in the skies, otherwise it's a bit of a hard ask to get Doha in a favorable position. RunAway can just take 3 space here. Amplification
Matrix used on the RunAway side of things. See what opening damage they can do. So far, the damage is coming from Doha instead.
Absolutely brutal there. The Immortality field this time not as easy for RunAway to take down, and this is critical now because this is how Element Mystic can start occupying a bit more of that space on the defense.
You're waiting for EM to strike back once more because MCD still has an Amplification Matrix of his own, as well as now coming up to, you have the Rocket Barrage for Sparkle, coming up to, matching Yaki on that perspective. Unique has the Valkyrie as well, so here we go, and Matrix used.
The dogfighters have actually swapped sides in the skies. Right now, Sparkle's hovering above RunAway and Yaki hovering above Element Mystic, but meanwhile on the ground, once again, Hisu gets found out. Element Mystic This time the 4v4 is going better for them. And honestly, if the 2v2 continues to be a stalemate, which it now isn't with the death of Yaki, but what I was going to say is if it continues to be a stalemate, then actually that benefits the defense.
Well, the problem is, if Hisu goes down to Doha's like, well, who do I got left to shoot? Of course, I'm going to go up in the air. I'm going to look at the fire here. Gets Yaki down as well. There's a ton of ultimates now across both teams, but it will be RunAway's turn just right now because they have the amplification matrix. MCD and EM, no, they don't, so this is going to be very difficult.
They don't just have the amplification matrix, AVRL. They have everything. Element Mystic, one ultimate shy.
Try this with the supercharger.
The math checks out, right? Doha looking to get the angle in, a lot of damage down, but Immortality Field, which has now expired. Oh, sorry, I lie. That is still active there for RunAway. Has expired for Element Mystic, though.
MCD nearly has it. He has it now. Sparkle!
Sparkle finds the reverse side, but Yaki's behind him! Are you kidding me? When the dust settles, though, and how much dust was thrown into the air, my goodness, Element Mystic do actually continue to hold here.
Well, that's the thing, though. Sparkle striked first, and he got down the important members. Yeah, sure, Yaki's going to come in second, but it's not going to be enough damage. It's not going to be the important members like Sparkle got, so it's still a slowdown. 250 on this clock now, and EM have basically made up for the deficit they caused on A, and they're really now slowing things down on B.
And look at the difference now between Sparkle and Yaki, something that's run so honestly close up until now. Sparkle already has another rocket barrage. Yaki not even halfway there, only just getting the 7 now, and he's right back in on cooldown. Sparkle pressing Q as soon as it's available, has the angle. Yeah, it's a 1 for 2, but again, defense favored. Now it's another kill on Mag. Element Mystic look ironclad here. RunAway.
Hisu's going in. DJ Gun did use the Valkyrie as well.
They're playing the card. This is sensible. They've also got that tank form running. Element Mystic now will need to reposition.
This is where I'm expecting big things here. That is huge.
Yeah, how's
Sparkle
that for you?
dominant in the skies. MCD now dropping the 8 matrix on the ground. EM still in control of this so far. And is this Hisu compromise? You bet it is.
Yeah, he knows there's a sitting duck there, and now the rest of RunAway in a similar position. Legday gone, even going down just on the closing end of that. Look, it was a smart play from RunAway after a poor start, trying to shift the balance of the fight, change where the pressure and action was happening. But Element Mystic just reacting so cleanly, so smoothly.
And there were so many opportunities here as well. You can just see how active Sparkle is around the map. Running rings around Yaki, you could almost feel. Trying to catch up to this guy. Yaki, we're waiting for the same kind of impact to come through. Shutting down Doha, if that's even possible. But so far it's EM. They're controlling the skies and they're controlling the ground. And that means they control Eichenwalde.
This has got to be the one for RunAway, though. They've already committed the amplification matrix. Unfortunately, not getting a lot of work done with it. But they've got a lot of other tools at their disposal here.
Yaki, barrage is still available. Let's see where the ults come through. Here's that flux.
Doha just sitting pretty. Oh, had the trust in his team to keep him up, but he got pulled just enough out of the immortality field that he actually dies there. Now Element Mystic, one man down and a critical man at that, also not able to res him is unique. So Element Mystic man disadvantage now increases with the loss of Sparkle. And this is just borrowed time, the immortality field. Element Mystic have finally been dislodged from the crenellations of Eichenwalde.
Things go from bad to worse here for EM on that particular fight. They're now not going to need to regroup. Towards the end of this bridge section, they still have ultimates available, but they need to set up, and that can be difficult when the attacking team already has a Bastion on the card. And yeah, you see there, Yaki, for the first time, or first couple of times here, really dominating Sparkle.
Oh man, speaking of Sparkle being dominated, poor guy can't catch a break, unique as well. And Element Mystic had already committed ultimates to this supercharger and amplification matrix. They've got all their eggs in the Doha basket right now, and none of them are hatching. In fact, their chickens have come home to roost. RunAway going to push through B.
They had the chance, they had the shot there. MCD and Matrix down. Doha still has the tank for, which I believe he'll keep on to here. You still perhaps going to be using that one, but the rest of the team is now making a couple changes. MCD over to the Ana. Unique's going to be playing the Batiste instead, and Sparkle defensively wants to be protecting Doha on the ground as the main.
They actually nearly held that, and they also pushed it nearly to overtime, which to me says there's still a lot of opportunities for Element Mystic to stop this one. What a biotic grenade from MCD.
Yep, just spawned on Ana, instantly 22% clocked up. Valkyrie used now by Legday, gone and RunAway, pushing forward, first ice wall to dislodge.
Second Bionade, not quite as successful this time, but slow going right now for RunAway. Sparkle though, in the line of fire for just a fraction of a hair too long, and with Sparkle down, the Appreciation that actually landed on Hisu can't really be followed up on adequately, and now RunAway in a pinched battle with a numbers advantage, also with the card steadily advancing to the terminus.
Sleep dart onto QOQ could be opportunity time as Heartland goes for the flux.
Drop back down, QOQ low but not dead, Immortality Field coming in clutch, Doha trying to fire on him, they've got the Immortality Field, they've actually forced RunAway to back up, they've created the space, this holds off for now.
And they just needed to wait for the Amp Matrix from Gangnam Gym to run out before EM reset back up, and they also, because of MCD Sleep Dart as well, they gave them the opening to reposition themselves and reclaim control of the cart now.
Nice gravitic flux directly onto Doha, this time inside the Immortality Field, means he stays alive, and again the pitch battle commences. Sparkle's down though, that's a big one to get picked off, and Hanbin as well. Doha's got to pay a lot of funds back, gets 2, needs a few more. Respawn advantage is there for them, and Hisu's got another. Doha's still in the mix though, back into the Sentry form. Hisu drills him down from afar, has the Mercy in the pocket as well, so he is safe as anything. Element Mystic, they do push it all the way down to overtime, but RunAway are going to cross that line.
Tough fought, hard fought battle from both sides. And just towards the end, when you start having members on the cart going down, and this is where RunAway are finding their advantages as well. They still have members alive, pushing that cart, and this is going to force EM to respond by putting their own members there to contest, having to use the tank form eventually, but it allows Hisu to still be set up in the Sentry form, way at the back of the point. He's not in danger at all, he can just fire down, full line of sight towards everyone. It's going to allow RunAway to eventually get that cap, but it isn't the most comfortable time here. Element Mystic made sure that RunAway were going to be, basically made sure they weren't going to have a time back to work with.
It honestly feels like that was tough in many respects for RunAway. Certainly Element Mystic didn't make it easy, and yes, it came incredibly close. That being said, now Element Mystic are going to have to complete the map themselves, but because it was overtime, obviously if they can complete with at least a minute left, then they've actually got a really high chance of winning.
I want to see what Element Mystic want to do on this offense, because the offense and defense can sometimes be a little different in terms of picks, not at least for this first point, because both teams will be playing that Pharah and the Bastion combos here, and you see how important it was to be able to get that first sort of push in where you force the Immortality Fields out. If you can snipe that Immortality Field out, you're going to get that first win, and getting the Amp Matrixes in there, landing the accretions, having the right Fortify plus Kinetic Grasp combos, and making sure, when I say combo, I mean layering of those two different abilities to just have the maximum tankiness. When you have the broadsides firing at each other, these are the things that count.
It's all the microcosmic timings of those ability usages that enable one Bastion or disable another. I mean, that's where so much of the difference gets made, because we've kind of said it, the dogfight actually has been relatively a stalemate.
It's been even except for the times when the Bastion players are contributing, and speaking of that, Yaki taking a lot of shots.
Oh, yep, Doha finishes that one off, and this is already shaping up to be a quick push. The Element Mystic, exactly what they are needing. They need to cap with plenty of time on the board.
You better believe RunAway are in trouble this time, because they are waiting for respawners. They're coming up soon. They've already used Immortality Field, and Hisu's down early.
That's a big one again now. RunAway don't have a lot left to go on here, as the cap is already starting to come through. In fact, I think RunAway, they're just going to give this one up. They don't want to hand over more kills, and they want to at least be able to set up a defense.
And they take down the most important members. First, it was Yaki. Secondly, okay, Yaki's coming back now. The next guy you get is actually Hisu, so no matter what happens, you're down one of your main damage dealers, and it's very difficult, if not impossible, for RunAway to actually contest, as MCD is now going to use his own Amp Matrix.
This is the benefit of RunAway backing off, as they actually let themselves set up here rather than not, and it's Sparkle's job to try and create that early space. Now as Element Mystic come piling in to the firing line, they already lose one. Sparkle!
Oh, spotted out.
Yeah, he fancied it, but not Hisu is all over that one, and now Element Mystic going to have to wait for some respawners, which just gives RunAway more time to sit back, charge up ultimates.
Sparkle can only dive into steal eggs from the Bruce Tower however many times, but this time around, RunAway's not going to allow it to happen. Yaki still has his own barrage as well as Sparkle, waiting to see if he can make the same kind of impact. Remember, when Element Mystic were defending this point, Sparkle was very active.
It should also be Yaki's job to keep tabs on Sparkle, not let Sparkle get close to him and spot for that nice accretion land, but with the Immortality field, he's who's going to live, and he is very confident in his team, giving him topped up as the Immortality ends. He was still low and never quite got topped off. Now Hisu's down. Yaki gets Doha, but he's traded off. Rez is there on Hisu, but now Sparkle is going to fancy that rocket barrage right in the front. That's a 1-for-1, takes himself down with it, but they do find Mag. They have opened things up somewhat. Hisu's still in the mix, but with the tank form having run out, Element Mystic are on the march.
And that's the problem, because Hisu's not set up currently.
Oh,
I say that, but actually he found another angle. That's going to cost Hanbin's life.
Yeah, and Hanbin thought he could get the drop on Hisu before that setup was ready to roll. The amplification matrix was there from Gangnam Jin to help Hisu's damage output. Element Mystic opted to do the same. And they're still just barely edging the cardboard, but the reality is Element Mystic will have to fall back and regroup.
And we desperately need to see Doha here back into the fight, reset up in his own position, because Hisu has just stayed alive. He died, he got resurrected, and he's still alive now. EM have the ability to continue pushing the cart, but they need Doha to be in that position to do so.
Gangnam Jin nearly died there for a moment. It's just rockets coming in, like being shelled in a building. Like, what? Where's it all coming from? But this cart's actually been moving. This defensive setup hasn't been that successful. From RunAway, and Sparkle's got the wrap around. Gangnam Jin down. Hisu ridiculously low. He has to pull back, reposition. Rez is there though, so this is a 6v6.
And this is the worst place for RunAway to lose the position.
Hisu!
They're going to try something here for the best man, but the most important one is gone.
And Mag's also dead early on in the fight as well, which means they can't actually contest the cart. Now Legday Gone is there just to kind of be a body, but the cap had already gone over. Element Mystic, 4.5 minutes left. All they need to do is cap C.
And the timing there was so rough. Because Sparkle gets Gangnam Jin, that kind of just ends up costing RunAway the B point entirely. They get the res, they still use ultimates. RunAway, super costly. EM hold a lot of cards here. What are they going to play?
Sparkle fancies a swap there. He's decided he does not need that rocket barrage, and obviously in that enclosed space, it's probably more hassle than it's worth to get that ultimate off. Element Mystic confident in the rest of their tools.
Sometimes it's better to fold and wait for the next hand. Element Mystic this time around.
Nice
it's a bit of a bio-nade, but they still have 2 to work with.
They're going to go ahead and set up anyway. Immortality field and amplification matrix puts the pressure onto RunAway. He's actually landed there for a brief second. Alpha getting low, but he is staying alive as now the pitched battle gets even more intense with rocket shells firing across the bastions as Yaki's found out. Element Mystic back in possession of the cart, steadily marching forward. RunAway had to answer this.
All now to block off the damage. RunAway.
They're going to get on
this cart.
And once again, it's got to be Kyokyu and Mag, kind of sacrificial lambs on this one. Hisu can't get anything done as soon as those tanks abandon him to touch the cart. And with the Element Mystic, clean house like it's absolutely nothing, and there is so much rubble to clean up. But as soon as this May is done, so that should be the cap coming through. I said they needed at least 1 minute. They've got all that and more.
Very efficient there as well. Last ditch attempt here. Nano Boost going to come out onto Hisu.
No,
not going to be enough. Element Mystic should be looking for the cap. A little bit more time lost, but 3:05 at the end of the day is still going to be extremely acceptable, especially when there's nothing on the side of RunAway at all.
Yeah, 3:05 to capture 1/3 when they actually captured that point as a one-push attempt in regulation time. I mean, Element Mystic have all their ducks in a row here. Are you ready for the Element Mystic 4-0?
It's certainly possible. It's certainly on the cards. I'm very also certain that RunAway will be able to bounce back at some point, you'd expect, especially considering their history between the two teams.
Yeah.
The official record before we came to this tournament between RunAway and Element Mystic this year of Contenders, 9-7 for maps. 9-7 in favor of RunAway, who won 2 matches against Element Mystic, who only took 1 off of RunAway in Season 1.
Very, very telling, and certainly RunAway isn't a team that one just gets a 4-0 against. If Element Mystic did it, it would be, I mean, a feat and a half, and we're a long way from that anyway. They actually need to get that 2-0 first, but as we sort of bring back to that point, yeah, that 2-0 is looking incredibly likely right now.
If that 2-0 happens, the official scoreline for the year will be 9-9. It'll be all even up for the entire 2019 competitive year, right? So, I mean, this storm has been brewing for a while, I gotta say, because these two teams have been neck and neck throughout the tournament and throughout the entire year.
Doors opening. Let's see if Element Mystic can get that early RunAway success. Pun definitely intended. They got some very early kills on some very critical members last time around.
Now remember when RunAway were attacking here, they lost, or rather when Element Mystic were attacking here, Yaki went down super early, and then Hisu went down. That just gave Element Mystic a 3A cap cannot allow that to happen again if you run away.
Just rotating around for now, Element Mystic. They have to be careful how they deal with this on the defensive runaway, because the fact that it's only 1/3 does mean playing for the point applies an extra layer of pressure to runaway.
And despite there being time for EM to work with, if you do lose a fight, get convincing, you give away a lot of ult, but so up, Hisu's gone!
How did that happen? Hisu just finds himself
got
right
pulled off.
in front of the guns of Doha, and they're already on the point. That's it, man. We said the 2-0 looking incredibly likely, and I mean, it was like it was nothing. They just kind of walked in, grab Hisu, kill him off, and suddenly they're 2-0 up in the series.
Alpha sends his regards, pulls Hisu down from the high ground. The halt is going to halt Runaway's progression so far in the series. Element Mystic looking pretty damn dominant, and this is not what people were expecting. Not when Runaway were able to get a 3-0 clean sweep against Gen G. And now they're looking at themselves, they're kind of just, you know, hands on heads. What's happening in this particular matchup, because we are not on the board.
Well, they've got to figure it out quickly, right? And look, testament to them, Runaway are a team that tend to figure these sorts of things out. Again, this is not a team one counts out at any juncture until the series is completed. We're only 2 maps deep into aforementioned series. The score does favor Element Mystic now, that 2-0. Still waiting for the turnaround from Runaway. Does it come up next or not? Well, got to stick around to find out. Welcome back from the break, ladies and gentlemen. I almost don't know what more there is to say right now about this series. It's just been so mind-blowing so far.
Well, let me say it for you, Pixie.
By all means.
Season 2 Grand Finals rematch has not disappointed so far. The winners bracket final has not disappointed so far, unless you are supporting Runaway right now, because they are 0-2 down in this current series, and they need to bounce back. In any other regular match, this would already be Element Mystic at match point, and I dare say, despite us not being at that moment now, the crunch time is all the same for Runaway.
But again, we have to go back to this idea of, like, when do you really count Runaway out? Like, 0-2 down is one thing.
When it says 4-0 for Element Mystic, that's when you count them out.
Exactly, or for anything for Element Mystic, but at the end of the day, the two have actually been such powerful wins for Element Mystic that Runaway actually do have a lot of ground to make up for. They're going to take us to Horizon Lunar Colony now for the third map.
And I'm waiting for more clutch moments from Runaway. If you watch the Gen G series that he played yesterday, so many times, of course, you remember that legendary Volskaya hold, but even on the other maps, Runaway somehow made it happen in the most dire of situations. They turned things around and made it happen. So far for 2 maps, we saw some good moments, but nothing good enough to get them a map win.
Gosh, I was awake at night, haunted by nightmares of a low-health Legday god preventing me from falling asleep. I have very strange dreams. But with that, I mean, It's all kind of set right there large, right, to O Element Mystic, O2 for RunAway. You can repeat it over and over again, but at the end of the day, the proof is going to be in the pudding. Where does the scoreline progress from here? Is it really Element Mystic today, or do RunAway just have that X factor still?
Mystic's out to play today. That's the element we're talking about. Not any of the other ones, not any of the regular ones. This is the one so far that is dominant. It's like when you pick you pick that element in Pokemon up, there's just the one Mystic element that is above all.
What it is the 6 traditional elements, right? It's Earth, Wind, Fire, Water, Surprise, and Mystic. You're thinking of
Right.
You're thinking of Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yes,
they don't have the water in there. They left that one out. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, he's been eliminated from the tournament.
Yeah, we don't talk about him.
Sorry, Glads.
He got kicked out of the band. I don't know.
Sparkle now actually looking to start out on the Junkrat, the old Fisher special from earlier on in the tournament. But
I dig it.
This is actually interesting because it's an older strategy, but it checks out. What we're expecting here is if there are, I mean, he's really focusing on the tanks, isn't he? And potentially the Doofus if he dives in, but otherwise, it is very different for this particular meta.
I mean, we saw it just earlier today, right? Atlanta Academy versus XL2, and like XL2 just couldn't even rotate. And already that appears to be the case. This first one, QQ and Mag get picked off. Sparkle does go down, which is a bit rough. That's going to slow down Element Mystic's ability to defend next time around, but any exit frags here will buy Element Mystic that time for the respawner.
And typically you would expect Sparkle to be on something like a Doomfist here, or you'd expect him to be on something by the way, Hisu going down. Something like the May here for more defensive capability. We speak about Hisu on the Symmetra as well. His job here is to, for one part, get his team in rotation safely onto the point. The second part is great at melted shields.
I like this adaptation here from RunAway. This whole composition feels right. It feels like it should on paper be able to deal with Element Mystic, but a lot of this is still just going to come down to execution and, of course, how the rotations actually play out for RunAway when it comes time to approach the point.
There's a ton of damage being dealt by Sparkle specifically so far. EJ gone. Got to go down here as that Riptide is being built.
And, I mean, RunAway just have to sit back, wait a little bit longer. What else can they do?
I certainly can't get to the point just yet. 44.7% means they've at least touched it, but haven't seen it for the past couple of fights, and while the Riptide would probably end another push if that one connects properly.
And all it really takes is just one kill off the Riptide. Usually it's not the greatest in this meta, but actually there's a lot of good viable targets. That's insane. They don't even need a Riptide. MCD out of his mind with that one. They've committed into this here, RunAway with that Coalescence. So Element Mystic are like, all right, we got more to bring to bear. So they're going to pick up Legday Gone with a Riptide. They've got the extra damage output from the Nano Boost. It has long since expired, but Doha's happy to take a pitch battle here against Mag. It's one he knows they can win. And when all is said and done, Element Mystic still holding and still with more ultimates to bring to bear, whereas RunAway have run themselves dry.
Sparkle even lands the midi onto QQ there as well. So take a look at that Bionade again, just weaves it around the shield, being put up by QQ. Or rather, Mag slightly too late to really support that team there, and well, MCD, do you see it? The guy that's making the difference on that last particular play.
Absolutely incredible so far from Element Mystic, and like I said earlier today, we saw a team be utterly unable to break through this Bastion Junkrat bunker. You'd like to expect better things than that from RunAway, but so far, they haven't been able to do it.
It's a lot of spam coming through. In fact, Yaki's now going to change over to May, using that May wall to kind of just help things out because the Hanzo wasn't offering a lot to this team. And look, 2 more members bionated on rotation.
Now they've just kind of got to get onto this point and hope for the best, see if they can make the fight work. All in the firing line, all lifted up, dropped down. Now the damage to come through. That's a bit of a wacky one. Not sure what's going on with Unique there. Immortality field down as well. Sound barrier from Legday Gone to keep RunAway in this one. Now they're starting to get some work done. They managed to pick up Sparkle. Doha with the tank form. Not getting any kills here. No trades. It was starting to look dire, but just when RunAway are on the ropes, they bounce back.
Transaction approved, payment received. Somebody better check Unique's bank account for that one. Element Mystic not too happy about that particular line of play, as RunAway are now going to be able to push on to point B finally. Photon barrier available as well. Hisu cuts the map in half.
This is a really brutal one for Element Mystic to play through. Allows the Runaway to just kind of march onto the point, but nice spider grenade means Legday gone and Hisu are in big trouble. Hisu already down. Now, Legday gone, surely soon to meet. The Riptide is going to pick off someone. It's going to find Gangnam Jin and now Mag as well. And it all falls apart once again. Smart approach by Runaway, but Element Mystic equally playing it smart.
Casually lop your steel trap into the middle of the fight, and a frog might just walk into that one. Runaway,
Dinner.
sadly, get eaten up by Sparkle, didn't he? Well, speaking of eaten up, Sparkle's going back in the Doom now, so he's going to try and claim some names. This defense still looking pretty solid. I mean, they stopped the snowball momentum coming through Runaway now. Less than 3 minutes remaining. You like to imagine the cap eventually gets there, but, I mean, they got to get this Blizzard up first.
That'll be the critical cooldown for Runaway here. The Blizzard, when that gets committed, should be what they push in on. They'll have the Coalescence as well. Element Mystic don't actually have much in response.
Coalescence being used by Gangnam Jin now. That means push time for Runaway. And just as you look at it, Blizzard now also available. Doha, see you later.
Already down. That's not a promising start, as now Yaki can just kind of freely pop this Blizzard down in the middle of the team when he sees fit. So far, Element Mystic have already been cancelled off. Hanbin being frozen the manual way. Sees Yaki finding the prime opportunity to drop the Blizzard. And now Element Mystic frozen up and also not even on the point in being frozen. They just can't get in here. Coalescence from MCD is buying Doha some time, but as soon as that Wraith Form ends, he's going to be down. Now MCD just has to sacrifice himself, and one by one, Element Mystic will get finished off on the point.
Well, let's see how much time EM can bleed off their clock now. 1:57 eventually will be the cap. The line of play for Runaway walking onto the camp was so crucial because they opened with the Coalescence in the corridor, making sure their whole team was going to be safe, rushing onto the point. The first player they go for is none other than the Sigma over there, because they need to make sure they get down Hanbin's Gravitic Flux. And the way they do that was, you see Yaki run up to him, freeze him up. That allows him then to throw out the Blizzard safely, knowing that it was going to be an ultimate that does get off.
Runaway have honestly approached this point B really nicely. I mean, it's a shame that the first line of play with the Photon Barrier off the Symmetra didn't quite work out, because again, it was a very smart approach. It's just Element Mystic kind of had more to deal with it. Second time around, though, Element Mystic didn't really have anything aside from, like you said, that potential for a Gravitic Flux that was very quickly identified and shut down by Runaway. So now on the offense, Element Mystic, they had a good A, they had an average to poor B. They now need to do better.
And Carpe in the audience there. Special surprise with Fury onto his right, our left. Hey, they said Overwatch League players were here, Overwatch League scouts are here. Of course, 13 teams from the league are here to watch the Gauntlet to see what talent could they potentially pick up the next season.
See what the next best NA Overwatch League team is going to be. Shocks and McStroster, never mind. But I mean, actually, that's kind of valid here when we talk about Runaway, because it's like, this is actually like a new incarnation.
Let's consider something. The old incarnation of Runaway, now that you bring it up, that's the Vancouver Titans.
Yeah.
We've seen champions from Korea rise up into the league and be completely dominant. State champions at one stage.
And it says
runner-ups in the Overwatch League playoffs. I mean, it's all there.
It says so much that even with that being the case, like a whole roster getting picked up, Runaway, like still such a high caliber team in a high caliber organization. It's like, I don't want to say no matter who they put on the roster, that's obviously not how it works, but I mean, the history speaks for itself.
We'll see how the caliber works out this time around. It's the second Bione landed by Gangnam Jin so far on this defense, putting him up at 41% in terms of ult charge. See if he gets another one. Yep, you bet he does.
He has not landed them on any less than 3 members so far in these rotations for Element Mystic. That is incredible mileage from Gangnam Jin.
That being said, EM has not been stopped on the rotation. That one nearly gets blocked out.
Only gets Alpha, but that might just be enough. Look at the damage coming down on top of it. Hisu will be able to finish him off, and now the firing line onto Hanbin. He is done, and Mag playing point guard on the area itself stopped any capture percentage coming through as well.
And no pressure onto Hisu, by the way, because all of EM went onto the point. That's going to be a decent trade. Gangnam Jin cannot be resurrected and has to walk back from spawn, and he also holds a nano boost pretty soon. There is a bit of an opening here that EM can capitalize on, but they still need to be able to rotate around the point to get on there. Hisu now using the same spot that Team Envy used not that long ago.
You can see them trying to get the Sigma barrier in the right spot here. Maybe not as well practiced. All right, I got nothing to say to that. Element Mystic, next rotation up. They're only really coming up on a Coalescence here.
Coalescence, you can't underestimate the ultimate. They're pretty useful so far, being able to push through safely. putting a lot of pressure on that Bastion. That's what they need. Nice hold coming through from Alpha. That's 2 members of RunAway on the ground.
The Biotic Grenade also missed. There's actually a window here where they can out-damage the healing here, RunAway. Element Mystic rotating onto the point now. Should be able to accrue at least a third here, will do so. As they're just going to fire up at Hisu. Coalescence does not save Sparkle's life now. Element Mystic gonna have to dig a bit deeper than that. They trade out with Yaki. Alpha, a little bit low.
Let's see how well they juggle this aggro, because Hisu's looking for a target, but he just can't kill anyone. He now himself is going to go on the point with the tank ball. There needs to be a big cleanup here.
The thing is, him being on the point has prevented Element Mystic to be on it, so close to 2/3, but Hisu just cleans house with that ultimate. That was already actually Element Mystic deciding they needed to back out, give some space to the Bastion before pushing back in, and RunAway kind of taking that and running with it.
And they took away the tank mode as well this time, but that was also the tank mode that allowed Hisu to contest the point himself and make sure that that second tick wasn't going to come through like you mentioned. EM now have less than 1 minute 30 left, 1:10 left to try and make something happen. And they still need ultimates. The Blizzard could be extremely useful, but look at that RunAway. It's just going to land a nice 5-man bio.
It's a shame you can't like overcharge your ultimate or something, because I feel like Game Name Jim would be sitting on 2 nano boosts by this point in time. But at any rate, Element Mystic finally making the rotation around onto the point.
Speaking of 5s, I mean, there's 5 ultimates for RunAway as well, and there's only 5 members alive for Element Mystic.
The math checks out, man, and there's only 45 seconds left on the clock as well. Element Mystic, they got to figure out how they're going to get themselves out of this pickle.
And there's only 37 seconds remaining now, and they have so much work to do to be able to get this cap. It's starting to look like RunAway are going to finally get that 1 map plat back. Unique does sit on that sound barrier, but we are still looking at the Blizzard. Sparkle has to be the X factor.
Element Mystic just waiting out this ice wall, and then they say it's go time, but Gravitic Flux to catch them as well. They're kind of standing, waiting for the bouncer to let them in the club, and now getting onto the point. Tight angle as the Maywalk comes up again, and it's hard for them to actually get onto it now. 5 seconds.
Sound barrier was used in that supercharger now. Alpha's going to try and make this one count. Who's on the ground? Yaki could be the target.
Alpha has lost the supercharger, so Element Mystic just one less.
There goes Sparkle.
Blizzard out from Sparkle, but he himself is already down. They do find Yaki, but that Blizzard has not accomplished anything. I don't even know if it ended up finishing channeling, and RunAway still getting kills. Doha needs to get a lot done, finds DJ gone, but drops down, and he himself is gone. Only at 35 hit points when he got onto that point. Hisu gets the triple once again, and Element Mystic will find themselves stopped up short. You never, ever count RunAway out, and that, my dear friends, is why.
And Hisu did so much work there, completely untouchable. Element Mystic barely even looked at him. I mean, they just went to the point, tried to get the members on the point down. They tried to force members from RunAway to contest. That's exactly the strategy you need to be able to deploy here. However, eventually the Bastion is a factor. Eventually the Bastion does something, and when you needed it, Hisu, he had the tank modes, he had the damage. He was able to stop Element Mystic when Element Mystic needed the cap most.
Impressive to say the least, and I thought Element Mystic's defense on A was actually really quite good. The B might have been a little bit lacking, but you sort of go, all right, with a good enough attack, yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, man, RunAway just a caliber above when it came to defending, and you can see why they chose to pick a Rise of Lunar Colony.
And to be fair, Element Mystic, like you mentioned, they had a great defense, but you just have to question what went wrong with the fat finger, or perhaps the bad positioning from Unique. Like, I have to think about that in a break, though. I don't know what's going to happen here. 2-1 so far for Element Mystic.
And it's an impressive scoreline still, but so far Element Mystic have only ever picked up 2 maps in series against RunAway. So, let's see if that remains to be the case after this break. Bye.